and I'm having some issues doing it. So y'all bear with me 1 second. I don't know what's going on with this. Okay, let me try something else. All right. Rock with me for 1 second. Well, okay, now I got it together. All right, got it together. Are we good? All right, so today we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the political shaming tactics that we're starting to see. We're seeing a lot of political shaming tactics, especially with the Democrats. They're doing a lot of shaming if we don't go along with their non-agenda, because they don't really have an agenda. They don't really have policies that we're supposed to support. And if we just don't go along with no questions asked, if we start asking questions, they try to run these little shaming tactics on us. They start making these accusations that we're bought and paid for by the RNC and all of this stuff, which is a projection, because most of the people doing that, these are people who are clearly getting some kind of check from the DNC. So that is a projection. And a lot of us are not going for the shaming tactics. One shaming tactic they're trying to do is the black man protect black woman shaming tactic that we keep seeing from the Michael Eric Dysons and all of these people. That's coming from the top. The fact that so many of them repeat that same line, that means that's something coming from the top. Plies, who people keep saying is some kind of Democratic op. At this point, he must be getting something. This is what a lot of people are saying. He tweeted something. His tweet said, "Dear black men who are searching for reasons to not like Kamala Harris, look at your daughters and nieces in the faces and tell them it'll be men like yourself who's going to question their blackness, their resume, and their excellence if they ever try to do the impossible in this country." That's some shit from the damn DNC. That's something that the DNC sent down. That dude didn't come up with that. Yeah, Kamala Harris is not a foundational black American, no matter how y'all try to slice it and cut it. We don't owe her any type of ethnic camaraderie or ethnic allegiance, because she hasn't given us any ethnic allegiance. You guys saw her at the DNC with her family. Where are these black family members? She had a whole bunch of East Indians on there. Where are these black family members? And they had a sister up there, and somebody said they were saying that the sister looked like she tanned up a little bit to kind of blacken it up. These are East Indians. And that's okay by their own admission. But listen, it's okay for us to listen out for politicians who have policies, because that's the question that a lot of people are asking. What's up with the policies? Where are these policies? We're looking for somebody to come through with a policy that's going to benefit us. And the Democrats are doing all of this performative shucking and jiving. And when the smoke clears and the confetti is swept up, people are like, okay, where's those policies? What are we going to get out of all of this shucking and jiving? And these are legitimate questions that people are asking. We got 700 people in here. Everybody's piling on in. I got my brother Daryl Scott. Where's Daryl Scott? Let me get brother Daryl Scott, who has been working with the Trump administration. And I want to get him to chop it up with us, because I've invited people from both sides and all sides to come have a conversation with us to discuss policies and discuss everything and anything when it comes to what we're going to get tangibly from these elected officials. Daryl Scott, if you can get in, I'm trying to let you in, brother Daryl. I'm trying to let Daryl in. Hold on 1 second. I'm trying to invite you, brother. Okay. So Daryl, can you request to get in? Because I keep trying to invite you and it's not. So Daryl, can you send me a request to get on so I can have you up so we can chop it up? Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with your account. I'm trying to add you, and you have to, Daryl, send me a request to get in. Send me a request so I can bring you up. Hold on 1 second. Okay, there you go. Okay.
I mean, this is like the first space I've ever done, so
Okay.
indulge me in my folly.
Okay, there you go. There you go. You're good. We can hear you now, so you're good to go. So how you doing, brother? Oh, oh, he fell down. Let me get you back up. There you go.
I'm back. I'm
There
back.
you go.
I've never done a space before, so um, you got to indulge me in my folly.
Yeah, you good. Yeah, just just don't hit no more buttons, and you good. Yeah, you're good to go. Now, can you hear me pretty good?
I can hear you real good. Thanks for having me on as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you are working with the Trump administration. What's on their end? What are they doing about Black outreach? What's happening on their end?
All right. Before I go there, can I revisit a couple of things you just said?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. First of all, you mentioned the Michael Eric Dyson, right?
Yeah.
Back in 2016, Michael Eric Dyson's wife joined the National Diversity Coalition for Trump. I met with her in New York on a couple of occasions. She loved Trump, and this clown threatened to divorce her if she didn't quit and stop supporting Trump.
Wow.
She came
Wow.
back to me crying and said, "I'm sorry, I can't be a part anymore." This clown threatened to divorce her for that.
What's her name? Maria? What's her name?
I'm gonna be honest, I can't remember, man. The older I
Oh,
get, the older I get, the less my memory is, and that was 8 years ago. But whatever his wife's name this is his wife, and
wow.
she joined the coalition. She joined, and he made her quit
Wow.
and threatened to divorce her.
Wow.
And watch
Wow.
this. Going back to something else you said, I've had black Democrats offer to support Trump for money.
Mm.
I
Mm.
can name names. I'll give you an example. I'll give you two.
Okay.
Cheryl Swoops, the WNBA player.
Yeah.
I approached her back in 2016 about doing some things with us, and she was at first she was like, "Oh no, 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 not with Trump, no, no, no." I said, "Okay," but then she said, "But hold on, yeah, how much would you pay me?"
Oh,
You want to know another one?
yeah.
Um, Teslin Figaro.
Now Tesla, that's my homegirl.
All right, let me tell you my Teslin Figaro story. I
Tesla is the
met,
homegirl though, but go ahead.
all right, I met Teslin Figaro back in 2016 when her and Nina Turner were supporting Bernie Sanders. Nina's a friend of mine. She's a homegirl from Cleveland. We went to the same high school, even though not at the same time. And they approached me. We were downtown. I had to do some things for the campaign. And they approached me and said, "Listen, Bernie is going to lose. And when Bernie gets out, we want to come over there with Trump." That's how I met her, right? Said, "We want to come over there with Trump." So then Bernie stepped out and I contacted him. And what happened, Nina got a job with CNN. So she didn't come. Teslin wanted to come. I introduced Teslin to Michael Cohen. The reason Teslin Figaro is on Fox News now is because Michael Cohen and I called the producer at Fox News and had them bring, not Fox News, CNN and Fox, and had them bring her on. And she went on, and the first time she went, and they were impressed and said, "Okay, she can become part of the campaign." Then she came and said, "Well, how much am I getting paid?" And this was back when he was self-funded. We like, "No, ain't no getting paid. You want to come on, be out there with us? Your pay is gonna be your exposure, whatever." She said, "Oh no, if I'm not getting paid, I'm not doing it."
But what?
And
But to Teslin's defense, Teslin is more like a consultant. She's not. I don't think she's married to any
but
particular
what I'm
party.
saying is,
Right.
okay, watch this though. If you're so adamantly anti-Trump, no amount of money should be able to get you to go out there for him. She wanted to become a surrogate.
But has she spoken out as being anti-Trump?
Yes.
Oh, all right.
And she's been anti-Trump and anti-Republican Party. And see, a lot of people hide behind that independent BS so that they can not have to be responsible for the bad, but can take credit for the good. They hide behind that independent
But
BS,
I but
but they
going back to
promote
Tesla,
Democrat policies. I never see any independents advocating for Republican policies. You
but I
only
will say that. Hold
all
on,
the
hold on.
black independents advocate for Democrat
Yeah,
policies.
but I will say Teslin has been very critical of Democratic policies too. So we got to be fair. I've 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 seen
I
it. So
haven't. I haven't seen
because
it.
I've done events with her, so she's been critical of them as well. So
But
just got to be fair to her.
she promotes Democrat policies as well. She does
But
not promote Republican policies at all.
but I've seen. I don't know about promoting or whatever, but I know she's
Hey
been
man, let me
critical
tell
of
you
both sides.
something.
I know
Let
she's
me
been
tell you
critical of
something.
both sides.
Let me tell you something. My rap is this. If you're not, you either stand for something or you fall for anything. You can't take that middle of the road bull crap. Pick a side. And you can't pick a side and you can't, a lot of people do that independent stuff because they don't want to have to pick a side because they think they slicker than anybody else. And so they'll just say, well, I'm independent.
Mm-hmm.
So if Biden does something wrong, I'm independent. If Trump does something wrong, but I'm independent. You
Now,
voting for
are there not?
somebody?
Now, do you think there are people who are genuinely in the middle? Because there's a lot
No.
of people. Yeah, there's some who like I'm in the middle. I don't
If I'm
support.
in the middle, I don't vote for either one then.
Right, right. This is why a lot of people are talking about voting for the couch because there's a lot of people who are in the middle saying the Democrats ain't really offering us nothing, and the Republicans are not really saying anything that's going to make us choose a side. So we're waiting on somebody to give us a green light on what they're going to bring for us so that we can support them proactively. So there are people in the middle genuinely, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, there are some, but to me, that is still um, a form of escapism, and I'll give you the reason why.
Hmm.
When you vote a person, you're actually voting the platform that the person stands on. That's why you know how we say in the church world, God loves the sinner, God hates the sin but loves the sinner. Okay, you can not necessarily care for the person, but you care for the platform that the person stands on. And
Hmm.
so then it almost becomes a case of voting for the lesser of two evils. This
Right.
platform represents this platform represents that. Nobody is going to perfectly line up with anybody about anything. Nobody is ever in perfect agreement about everything. And so
Hmm.
you take the platform that most closely aligns with your morals, your values, and your belief system. And with me, here's what people that I had to tell people about myself when they talk about being a conservative. My conservatism is rooted in my Christianity. I was naive enough to think at one point that all Christians, regardless of color, all Christians were automatically conservative. And so that's what my roots are. So I can say, how can a Christian support abortion? How can a Christian support transgenderism? How can a Christian support having drag queens in your kids' classrooms? How can a Christian support this? And by extension, how can a Christian support a platform that promotes this? So that's where my belief system came in. It was the platform that lined up first with my Christianity and then secondly with my worldview.
Mhm. Now, there's a lot of people who are not aligned with what the Democrats got going on in that respect. They don't want to support this weird stuff going on in classrooms. They don't want to support all of this immigration. Um, they are right there in the middle. And some people are like, why would we want to choose Trump? What would be the answer to that? Why would a black, let me say for black people, for black Americans, foundation of black Americans in particular, what would make them want to reach out to Trump or to just support Trump? And what would Trump's administration do to woo those black voters?
Okay, watch this. In 2016, we were fed, the black community was fed a lot of nightmare scenarios that would occur under a Trump presidency.
That's
He's
correct. I
gonna
agree.
put you back in chains.
I
Now,
agree.
hey, listen, one time I was at a gas station pumping gas. And so I saw a guy looking at me in line, and I said, okay, I hope this Negro don't try to act sideways, because then I'm gonna act sideways back.
Right, right.
So I'm pumping my gas, and he eased his car over there, and he rolled the window down.
Mm.
And he said to me, you know, if Trump wins, we're gonna all get shit back to Africa. Vroom, and pulled off. And all I could
Wow.
do was sit there and shake my head and start laughing. So we were fed all of these nightmare scenarios. There was a lot of fear mongering in the black community as to what would be our destiny if Trump won.
Right.
And then, so I can understand the apprehension then looking forward. But now, under 4 years of a Trump administration. He didn't do nothing wrong to black people. He didn't
Right.
ship us back to Africa. In fact, he went over and over and over again trying to prove himself to black people. He was trying to prove himself. Look, I'm going to make sure I honor Black History Month. I'm going to make sure that I say things such as black people built this country. Okay, it's like almost every piece of legislation that was put in front of him for black people, he signed off on. You wouldn't know. Let me tell you something. I was at the White House so much during the 4 years of Trump's presidency that people stopped asking me what I was up there for. I could go up there and walk around like I wanted to. And I had black people up there every doggone week. And when I say black people, I'm talking about I took local barbers from my city. I took guys up there like a Nino Brown, the black influencer that's on Facebook. And they were surprised because they thought they were going to go up there and it would be a Ku Klux Klan rally. And they got up there and got in rooms where the Trump administration asked them point blank, what can we do to help black people? I'll never forget Sarah Sanders said to me, we want to get more black people working up here. What can we do? I said, they don't want to come to work up here because they're afraid that if people found out they came to work in the Trump administration, they would be bashed, they would be criticized, they would be canceled. And that's the way it is. And when people would ask me, why aren't more black people in Trump's administration? I said, because the people that get jobs in administrations are the people that worked on campaigns. We couldn't get no black people working in the campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
Trump called me on Thanksgiving 2016, right after he got elected. He said, man, what do you want? I said, what you mean? He said, what you want? Whatever you want, you can have. He said, then I said, man, I don't want no job. I'm too old to have a job. First of all, and I'd be a bad employee. I came up there and got fired because I've been self-employed since 1985. I'm not used to taking orders. He said, well, do you want an ambassadorship or something? I said, no. He said, well, what you want? You don't want nothing? I said, I want to be a liaison from the black community to the Trump administration and a liaison from the Trump administration to the black community. That's
Got,
it. He
got
said,
it.
man, you got it.
Yeah.
I contributed 27 pages to the First Step Act. I worked on the Opportunity Zone legislation for them. Every time there was something that had to do with the black community, I was involved in it. And not only that, I was invited to bring whoever I wanted to be involved with. I had so many black people up there, you'd be surprised. And they would go up there and quite frankly, time out. I'm talking about black Democrats. They would go up there and time out, and afterwards I'd say to them, man, why you come up there timing out? You
Mm.
talk all that stuff out there. Now I done brought you in the room. I brought you in the room to be you, not to come in this room, get in front of Trump and turn in the step and fetch it, which is what a lot of them did.
Right.
Now that ain't my fault.
Yeah.
I
I've
know
seen
one
that.
thing. Let me tell you something. My business partner and I, Kareem Lanier, got pulled off to the side one time by somebody and say, man, y'all got to be careful. Y'all starting to get a bad reputation around up here in the West Wing and around in D.C. and the Washington and the compound. I said, a bad reputation for what? He said, man, y'all keep going around here cussing everybody out. I said, well, that reputation, that's true. I can't deny it.
Mm. 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 Now,
And you
now,
would be surprised. You would be surprised if you knew the people that got some of this. The way I am on social media, the way I am in person, that's the way I was at the White House. And President Trump and I have a very good relationship. It's a horizontal relationship, friend to friend, and as a result, we're able to speak quite bluntly to each other.
got now we have a lot of black voters out here who are okay. The opportunity zone thing, that's been kicked around, and people saw some of the benefits and they saw some of the pros and cons on it. There was a lot of concern about gentrification and displacement with those opportunity zones. So there are other policies that a lot of black voters are looking for that would be more direct with helping black people elevate economically specifically. Would Trump be open to have conversations about what can be done from our perspective? Because the opportunity zone thing, it was Tim Scott and those people. They kind of brought that to us, but from the grassroots, there are some policies and initiatives that the grassroots would like to bring to the table. Would Trump be open to hear some of those things and possibly provide some type of tangible resources specifically for us?
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's take it step by step. First of all, the opportunity zones incentivize private investors to invest money, capital gains money, into the distressed communities, not just black communities, into
Right. See,
distressed
that's where we get it.
communities.
See that when the distressed communities,
Yeah.
that can be immigrant communities. See, this is what. See,
No,
that's
but
why a
well,
lot of.
at the time when they said distressed communities, but
Hmm.
here's the thing: when you say there could be uh, immigrant communities, you have to understand the federal government did not select the opportunity zones. The opportunity zones were selected by the governors of each state, Democrat and Republican, black and white.
Hmm.
So it was a bipartisan endeavor. Now, here's the thing: the genius of signing off on it was this: the government is not into the real estate business. If the government got involved, they would become projects. This
Hmm.
would incentivize someone that would take their money and invest it in those communities. But it wasn't confined to a certain group. Anybody could have done it. We went around the country doing opportunity zone tours. We met with thousands of black people at a time and say, you guys can pool your resources, create an opportunity fund, and then do the opportunity zone work yourself in your own neighborhood. The antidote for gentrification is ownership. And so you can take ownership of it, pool our resources, and do it as a collective. And so we can't say that it was something that was only to benefit black people. And there are enough millionaire blacks now that need the tax break that investing their capital gains money would give them that could invest in opportunity zones. It wasn't just a white thing, picking on black people. It wasn't just that. There are a number of areas that were designated opportunity zones that were in downtown Cleveland and other places that were able to incentivize, once again, you to say, why should I take my money and put it in a bad area? Well, if you do it, you'll get a tax break. That was the incentive.
Right.
Now,
So
that's
yeah.
number one. Now, number two, we
Mhm.
are having conversations with President Trump right now about rolling out his economic empowerment plan that's not just for um, the black community, but for blacks and underserved communities as well. There's going to be an upgrade over the platinum plan, and we're sitting down, we're dotting the I's and crossing the T's right now because we're trying to do $1 trillion plan, $1 trillion plan
But here,
that will
but here's
provide economic empowerment and access to capital
got it.
for the black people.
Okay, but here's the thing that's coming from the grassroots. That's good, but we are asking for something that's a little more specific for us because we've been targeted more specifically. And whenever we have these programs that's kind of a catch-all for black and slash whatever group, a lot of times that other group gets prioritized and then we're left holding the bag, getting the crumbs left over. So the Democrats are very good for that, and a lot of black voters don't want to change a Democrat trick bag for a Republican trick bag. So a lot of people are very concerned about some of these catch-all, lift-all boat programs.
Yeah,
Uh, we're looking for programs to be a little more specific to the descendants of freedmen.
yeah,
See,
but you can't have reverse discrimination
that's not
and
reverse
say we
discrimination.
have this available only for blacks and not for whites as
Oh
well.
no, 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 no!
And so
Slow
you
down, slow
make
down,
it.
slow down, slow down, no, no, slow down. See, that's why you heard what I said. Descendants of freedmen. We made it lineage based. You can do things based on lineage,
And
not
I
reverse.
understand that. I
Got it?
understand that as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I
All right.
understand what you're saying. But here's what I'm saying to that. You know, I have a lot of people that have said to me, Donald Trump is a racist. I would say they would have that argument. Donald Trump's a racist. Me and Roland Martin had that argument. Donald Trump's a racist. I say, okay. Then he would turn around, what's Donald Trump's plan for the black man? And I said, why you want a racist making a plan for a black man? If you think he's a racist, why would you want him to make you a plan? So that's the contradiction of the black community right now. Trump's a racist, okay? But where's his plan for me? Okay, I don't want a racist making a plan for me. Either he's a racist or he's not. Now, here's another thing.
But
The
but
black
to that, but
community makes
hold on,
demands
wait, wait,
upon Donald Trump that
hold
they
on,
don't make upon Democrats.
wait. Let me just push back on that for a minute. I understand where people will come from because if you think he's a racist, but he is the president, okay, since I'm a taxpayer and I'm under this government, I still need something. Like I don't like Biden. I think Biden is a racist. I still want Biden to do something while he's in office because he's still my president while he's in office. So I can understand where people will have that narrative. But go ahead.
I don't hear the request, the petition, the demand made upon Democrat candidates that are made upon Donald Trump.
Oh, it's there.
I didn't hear him saying, "What's Obama gonna do for the black man?"
Oh,
What's what's
we we were doing it. We were doing it. We
and what happened? We voted for him anyway,
yeah,
twice.
yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay, and they voted for Joe
And I made a
Biden.
lot of demands. I did. I made
Yeah, but what I'm saying, I'm talking about I'm not talking about you individually. I'm talking about the
yeah.
black collective.
Mhm.
This voting block of blacks who are looking for a reason to not vote for him by saying, "What's he gonna do for black people?" But they're not saying. I don't hear that about Kamala.
Oh no,
Let
no,
me
no,
let me
yeah.
ask this
No, no,
question.
wait, no, wait, whoa, whoa, no, no.
I don't hear
There are
this about
people
her.
saying
I,
that. No,
I
no,
heard her
wait.
say, "I'm not doing anything specific
Wait,
for
brother.
black people."
People are saying that. I guarantee on
And
the
what
ground.
was her reply?
She said that she wasn't going to do anything for black people.
And
That's
what are
why a lot
black
of
people gonna say? So
and,
what? I'm voting for her anyway.
um
If Trump said
a lot
I'm
of
not
black
doing
people are.
anything for, if Donald Trump said I'm not doing anything for black people, they would hold that man up as the worst, vilest racist on the face of the planet Earth. If he
But
was able to, if he said out of his mouth what she said out of her mouth, he would be tried, condemned, and put to death.
with a lot of black people, I'm telling you, okay, we had a rally out in D.C. Thousands of people were very critical of Biden and Kamala.
And voted for him anyway.
Well, no, no, no. A lot of people. I didn't vote for them in this last election. I did not vote for Biden and Kamala at all.
If
Um, and
if
there are
Donald
and
if
there's a
Donald
lot of
Trump
people.
said out of his mouth, I'm not doing anything specific for black people, it would be an uproar.
Oh, I know.
Kamala Harris said out of her mouth, I'm not doing anything specific for black people, and laughed.
Hmm.
And they try to downplay it, and black people overlook it and give her a pass.
A lot do. A lot of us don't. There are a lot of us
99%
calling
do,
it out.
1% don't.
Mhm. A lot of us, and some people will on the other side. Some people will say, well, people will criticize the Democrats, but a lot of black conservatives won't criticize some of Trump's things. What do
Yeah,
you
you're
say to
right.
that? Right?
I agree. Hey, man, let me tell you something. It ain't too many of us over on this side that got the nuts to speak up.
Mm-hmm.
You happen to be speaking to one of the ones that do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, certain things I won't say in public that I've said in private. But most of the stuff I say, I'll say if something comes out publicly, I will publicly address it.
Right.
Because I don't care how many's over on this side, you ain't talking to one right here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, I will be honest, some black conservatives come over to this side and time out. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to act like they don't. And so I want to let people see that there is a representation of black people in conservatism that don't time out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now
That
you
aren't
did get
afraid, that aren't afraid to
now
speak up.
now to be transparent. Now you did get some criticism years ago when you did the whole gang thug thing. When you did
But that
that.
was a true story.
Oh,
I did not lie.
oh,
That was not a lie. Let me tell you,
no.
let me tell you something. Let me tell you
You
something.
didn't talk to the top gang thug.
I talked to some guys. I'm telling
You
you.
did not talk to the top. Who's the top gang
Okay,
thug?
watch this. Watch this. Watch
Go
this.
ahead, brother.
Watch this. All you have to do is go back to the Chicago Tribune.
Mm-hmm.
They did a front page story on it with the guy that I talked to. And they gave his history and his resume. But that's like me saying, you know what I did? I shouldn't have said it like that because nobody is going to cop to being in the gang. The same way if I said I talked to a top mafia guy, he's not going to come out
But
and say, yes,
but
I'm in the
there's no
mafia.
but there's no top gang thug. The black crime ain't organized like that where there's a top.
Let me
Or,
ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
go ahead, brother.
Do you know the names of black gangs?
Yeah, a lot of
Okay, then they're organized. They have
them.
an hierarchy. They have a structure. They have a power structure.
No, no, it's more
Okay,
of a trend, sir. I'm
I
in.
tell you this much.
I live.
Go back.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you a name. I'm gonna give you a name to Google. Torrance Cooks.
Mm-hmm.
Google him and look up the article that the Washington Post did about him, and talk about how he and I talked, and all that conversation was true. And then I tell you what.
What gang is he?
Hey.
What
Ask
gang is
Mark.
he the leader of?
Ask Mark Carter. Did I talk to him?
What's the gang that he's the leader of?
It's in the article. You'll read it.
Okay, because I can't pull it up while I'm talking
Yeah,
now.
Chicago
But
Tribune. They did a
yeah,
front page.
but
They did
gang.
a full page article on. And you know what else? HBO Vice did an award-winning television video on it. Look it up. HBO Vice did a show on it. They sent the camera crews out. They talked to the people in Chicago. Them Negroes was on there with masks on their face. They had masks on their face in the conversation.
Yeah,
But of
that's
course, black people don't want to see that. They rather act like I made up a lie. What the hell am I gonna make up a lie like that for?
and why? How did you get access to the top gang thug?
They contacted me through a guy.
Mm.
We had a mutual acquaintance. And they said, we trying to get to Trump.
Now, why did the
Because they
gang?
said, because Obama ain't did crap for us.
So the top gang thugs had political wherewithal?
They had street wherewithal.
No, because I don't
They
know.
knew a guy that knew a guy that knew Donald Trump.
I don't know, brother. I
It
know
ain't
a
nothing to know. All you gotta do is look it up. It's on the record.
lot.
I gave you the sources.
Yeah.
HBO Vice did
Hmm.
a whole TV series on it, TV show on it, and won an award for it. They
Mm.
sent camera crews out. They interviewed these guys. And the Chicago Tribune did a front page story on it and named names and pulled up court records.
Yeah, but they were just random gang members. They're not no top gang. Yeah,
All
they're
right.
gang
So
members.
how you
Gang
know
members
that? How you
exist.
know?
Yeah, because I've
How
been
do
in the
you know?
streets. Because I've been in the
Okay, so
streets.
you know
I
that
know
we were
I know
just
how it works. Yeah, black crime ain't really that
were
organized.
you
You
in
have
a
gang members, but it's just not as organized.
were okay,
It's
so
not no
in the
hierarchy.
gang members that you have, is there a leadership?
No, it's really
Okay. So
there's
it's just
not
a bunch
no
of
it's not.
random Negroes doing what they want to do, saying they in the
Yeah,
gang with no leadership and no
no,
structure.
right.
That's what you're
Be-
telling me.
because
The only structure they have is
because
the name, huh?
yeah, it's like a trend. You got people who are rappers who claim gangs that they're not even a part of. So it's like a
Okay,
trend.
so Larry Hoover wasn't a top gang thug.
No. Larry Hoover,
Oh,
he
he
was.
was, but they stopped. He went to
I mean
jail.
that
They stopped, huh?
this guy started a gang. He was. You have people who start gangs. He actually started a gang. And what's interesting when Hoover and those guys, when
So the,
some of
ma-
those,
did the
when
mafia
some of
doesn't
those,
have any structure. The
no,
mafia doesn't have any structure either, huh?
the mafia definitely have structure
Oh,
because
but the black people don't.
they got police and judges in their pockets, so they're a little bit
Black
different.
black so black people don't.
Not no black gang members.
Hey man, I knew black gang dudes here in Cleveland that had police and judges in their pockets.
That was in the '70s, like the Nicky Barnes types. They don't have that now, brother. They don't have
You don't know that.
because they would get RICO.
I know you don't know that. You mean to tell me you're telling me right now that ain't no dope boys paying people off?
Uh,
That's what you telling me that right now?
not no
Ain't no gang guys paying nobody. They ain't got nobody they paying off.
not in the black community. That's why they
Come on,
getting
man.
pinched so heavy. They're
Stop.
not that organized. They don't have that
Uh,
much clout. That's why they get pinched so hard, brother. It's
okay,
not
man.
that organized.
Well, then put it this way: they was top gang thugs to me,
Mm.
and so top gang thugs is a subjective term.
Uh,
Somebody's big is another person's little.
uh. Um, Now, with Trump, a lot of people are concerned about the whole immunity to all cops thing. My thing is they already have it. That's been my argument. They already have it under Kamala and Biden now. Um, do you think people have legitimate concerns about Trump coming out saying that he's going to do the whole immunity for all cops? What's the take on that in that circle?
So I didn't know that the federal government had authority over state and local level police forces.
Hmm.
So it's more of a state and local thing.
Okay.
So I mean, he wouldn't be able to enforce that anyway. Maybe he would give FBI agents or something. See, here's the thing: a lot of black people do. They want the federal government to do something that the state and local governments can do, and that's where we get it twisted. We think the president has the power and the authority to intervene in state and city government. We see that that is not the case. If that was the case, he would have never been tried and different things like that in these civil courts.
So, what do you think Trump means when he says that? Then, if he doesn't have any type of state power, local power, what does he mean, or what do you think he means when he says he's going to give them immunity? How should that be interpreted?
Maybe it's just he's suggesting that they should get it. Maybe he's doing it to get the police vote. I don't know. I haven't
No.
had that conversation with him about it. I just know that the federal government does not have the authority to legislate uh, policy for police in local and statewide offices.
Mm,
The state government has that authority. The governor has authority to do that, and the mayor. the police chief. This thing is it's not something that would be mandated from a federal level anyway.
Hmm.
Maybe he's trying to give them maybe he's trying to give them immunity for federal crimes or something. All
Right.
right, maybe
Right.
maybe that's it.
Okay. Okay. Now, when Trump talks about the black jobs, I'm very interested in that. I don't know why there were a lot of people on the left that were just acting obtuse about the whole black job thing. A lot of us on the grassroots are very interested to hear more about Trump and his promise of more black jobs. What type of strategies have you been hearing that Trump could implement in order to get jobs for black people?
I didn't hear him say his reference to black jobs was that immigrants were taking black jobs.
Right.
He didn't promise that he was going to make more black jobs.
Okay. Because that.
He's going to let me tell you something. I've known Donald Trump. He and I have been friends since 2011.
Hmm.
One of the reasons I support him is because he's my friend. But one of the reasons he became my friend is because of the conversations that we've had. The very first meeting I ever had with him, the very first time I ever talked to Trump, the very first words that came out of my mouth to Trump were in 2011 when he was going to run for president in 2012 against Barack Obama. A lot of people don't know that. The very first thing I said to him was, what makes you think black people will vote for you? Word on the street is you're a racist. That's the very first thing I ever said to that man when I met him. He looked me right back in my eyes and said, man, I'm about the least racist person you ever want to meet. I can't be racist in my line of work doing the business I do. So I'm waiting on this guy to try to convince me he's not a racist. Tell me he had a black friend in the third grade. Tell me he knew a black dude, someone he didn't do it. So I pressed the issue. And I asked him, what do you think about the causes and concerns of the black community? Because at that time it was, what was it? Michael Brown and Freddie Gray and those different ones have been getting killed by police and whatever. I said, what do you think about these police killing these black people out here? And he said to me, he said, man, hey, I'm wondering why the police don't shoot the wound. Shoot them in the leg, shoot them in the foot. I don't understand why they're killing them like that, shooting them like that. I said, okay, cool. I said, what do you think about the problems in the black community? He told me out of his mouth, he said, I think unemployment, underemployment, and depressed living conditions are the main problems in the black community today.
Okay.
And I
And then that.
I said, well, what'd you do about it? He said, I'm Donald Trump. I create jobs. I would try to, if I can help the income of the black community. This is one thing we discussed.
That's what I'm saying. That's what we're circling back
The
to.
majority of black crime is financial based. When you think about it, our crimes of passion are no worse than any other community. Some wife killing her husband because she caught him fooling around or something. That's no worse than our crime. Drug dealing is a financially based crime. Robbery is financially based. Theft is financially based.
Right.
Black people commit crimes because of finances, and when they get the money, they don't commit those crimes anymore. How many? Let's say rappers and entertainers, and athletes. How many of them grew up in conditions and had backgrounds of crime that when they became financially successful, they did not commit the crime anymore?
Hmm.
So the crime is inherently a financially based problem. And if we can upgrade the financial wherewithal of the black community, you'll see a reduction in crime. I know I'm being long-winded. Let me tell one more story. My nephew got killed in a drive-by back in the late 90s
Hmm.
in a city called East Cleveland. East Cleveland is Dodge City, man. I'm
Right.
telling you. So anyway, the mayor was an African guy, and he was very pro-community. And so my nephew got killed in a drive-by. He was part of a gang. Him and his friends, a couple other ones got shot. So maybe 7, 8, 9 months later, I see some of the other guys that were in the gang, and they were working city jobs. And I said, "What happened, man?" He said, "Mayor Anwar gave us all a job, so we ain't doing the gang banging no more." He
Hmm.
gave them all jobs, and this was in the 90s. I saw one of the guys that got shot with him. He lived. He I saw him about 3 years ago, and he's working still for the city, but he's also doing counseling for gang and youth counseling and different things like that. And so once their income was adjusted, they felt no more need to be in this gang committing these crimes.
Hmm. Absolutely.
And so when people try to act like the black community is a bunch of savages running amok, no, it's the majority. Once again, the majority of our crimes are financially based,
Mhm.
and our crimes of passion are no more than anybody else's.
Got it. So, brother, one last thing, man. Basically, what we would like, a lot of black people on the grassroots, and what we're hearing and seeing, a lot of people are open to Trump. They're listening to Trump more so than 4 years ago, and they're just waiting to see some type of tangible program that would make some of the people who are in the middle to proactively go ahead and say, "Hey, let me go ahead and support Trump," as opposed to "I just don't want to support Kamala." So there's a lot of
You're
stagnation.
absolutely right. And I
Hmm.
appreciate you. And in fact, I need you to do me a favor.
Yes.
That what you just said to me,
Hmm.
snip that into and send it, text me that.
Hmm.
Text me that so I can send it upstairs. I
Yes.
will send this, you send it to my cell phone, I'm gonna send it to Trump's cell phone.
Hmm.
Because this is a conversation that we've been having and that we're in the process of having now. We're dotting I's and crossing T's, but I want him to hear this from someone like yourself and someone other than myself. So if
Yeah.
you can cut that little part off and send it to me, I'm gonna send it up there.
Absolutely. Absolutely, brother.
And I'm trying to facilitate him coming on your program as well. I know you're aware of that. I'm having conversations with him right now. You have to understand this guy is the most popular person on the face of the planet Earth. He's
Mhm.
deluged with requests to appear, but I'm trying to move you to the front of the line.
Absolutely, my brother, man. If we can make it happen, let's make it happen.
Yeah, I
So,
want it to happen.
yes, indeed, brother. I appreciate you for coming
Hey,
on.
hey, let me give a shout out to
Yes,
some of your listeners I see on here.
yes, yes. Shout them out.
Let me see some of my friends, Stark Raven Mad and Pamela Unplugged and Steph Little Boo New York and Marcel and who else I see on here. I'm able to see a few folk that I know, man.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
And,
indeed.
and some of my frenemies are on here too, so hey, I like it.
My bro, I appreciate you so much for coming on, man, and chopping it up with me, man. So we'll talk, man. We're gonna make something happen, brother.
All right, man. Listen, I'm gonna do what I can to get him on. He needs to come on here with you, and if it don't happen, it won't be because I didn't try to make it happen.
Yes, indeed,
And
man.
if
All right.
anybody can make it happen, it's me.
Absolutely, my man. I
All right.
appreciate you. Thank you
God
so.
bless you. Thanks for having me on.
All right, all right. That was a decent conversation, but we got a lot of folks in here. We up in here heavy. We're in here deep. Let's get brother Marcel in here. We got Marcel in here. We got Amore. Let me get a lot of folks on. Sharker. We get let's get Marcel first. Brother Marcel, hop on.
Hello, Tariq and Dr. Daryl Scott. How are y'all?
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. I just want to make a comment and say real quick that first of all, Dr. Daryl Scott, he's been, my campaign manager, not me really, has been speaking with him, and we've spoken with a guy. I think he mentioned him, Kareem. I believe his name is Kareem Lanier. I
Yeah.
just want to say to people that we are talking a lot about lineage-based policies. When
Yes.
people hear that, they still take lineage to mean race. So that's
Right.
why people have probably heard me say lately status based a lot or class because they kind of understand that more. And it's been an uphill battle trying to get them to understand that things can be done based on status. And Kareem's argument, and he's been responding. He's the guy who wrote the Platinum Plan, Kareem Lanier. He's
Okay.
been responding well to my campaign manager. But his thing is, oh, Freeman is an obsolete term. People don't know what it is, and people won't understand it. So it's best to kind of do an underserved community and just have Black Americans, freemen, disproportionately benefit from it. But we are explaining to them in real time, like this is happening as of yesterday, that no, if Trump is going to say, and Trump has said this about the Republican Party being the party of Lincoln, you
Mm-hmm.
cannot do anything more Lincoln-esque than to bring back the Freedmen's Bureau. And the truth of the matter is, Trump has on his platinum plan Department of African American Affairs. All we're saying is make it status based. If he wants to have the Department of African American Affairs, that's fine. But bringing back or doing the Freedmen's Bureau will be status based for us, and it's been done already, so there's precedent. That's one. And I just also want to say that we sent the proposal for an Office of Freedmen Affairs to Kareem Lanier, and he's been reviewing it, and he's kind of had a few conversations with my campaign manager, not with me. So there is conversation being done. That just goes to show that we do have a lot of education work to do. Because one time Kareem Lanier, I think he made a similar statement that Daryl Scott made, like, "Oh, wouldn't that be reverse discrimination?" And no, it's no more reverse discrimination in the Bureau of Indian Affairs that we have right now. No more reverse discrimination in that. And I land there.
Thank you so much. And very good point. See, that's why when I was talking to Brother Scott, I said descendants of freedmen. He said, "Oh no, we can't make it race based." No, 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 they ain't race. We're talking about lineage. See, we got to know how to move and shake with these terms in the right venues. Yeah, we got to know how to move and shake with these terms and speak on them in the correct way. We're talking about status. When it comes to getting certain tangible benefits, we're talking about status. Descendants of freedmen, that's a status. Because what they do to give all of these other groups benefits and resources, they use their status, which is immigration. See, they can get around the whole racial component by saying, well, we got a program for the immigrants. And they know that the immigrants are mostly, especially on the West Coast, Hispanic. So this is how they can get away with giving so many resources to Hispanics while not making it race-based. It's status-based immigration. You see? So we got to know how to use those terms. That's why when folks come in who are non-FBA trying to latch on and shame us for being about our lineage, we don't fall for that. Yeah, we are about our lineage, because if we start letting everybody launch on to what we're doing based on race, that's going to mess everything up. We're not going to get anything, and that's what they want. They want us to mess everything up. When we start making things strictly race-based, it's lineage-based. All right. Amor, Miss Amor, are you good, dear? All right. Well, Miss Amor is not saying nothing. Let's get Sharker. Sharker in the building.
How are you guys? Good evening.
Hey, Sharker, now where you from with that accent, brother?
How are you, my brother? I'm from Israel.
Yeah, there you go. What's on your mind, bro?
Um, I used to live in America for a couple of years. This is the only thing I know. I love America, and I want to see. Especially, I'm not talking about governments. I'm talking about I love the people in America. They're amazing, black, white, Chinese, whatever. Americans are the best people that you can. It's so good to live next to them because they are really with open mind and they have a lot of knowledge. Most of them. But also how do you call this emotion intelligence, how do you say no
Okay, okay, I'm
I
glad
will
you're.
find the word.
Wait, I don't know where you're going with it, brother. I don't know where you're going with. I don't know what you're talking about, to be honest. I'm trying to give you a little leeway, but you ain't making no point. You just kind of rambling. Yeah, I love America. It is so good. I ate a hot dog and some pizza. Okay, I don't. Okay, all right. Sound like you trying to get your green card or something. That's what you say at the immigration office. I love hot dogs and apple pie and baseball. America is great. Okay, all right, all right. Thank you. I don't know where you were going. I tried to give you the benefit of the doubt, brother. Amor, are you good, dear? Okay, Amor must be in there getting her hair done. Let's get Utsav.
Hello, Brother Nasheed. Appreciate the opportunity to speak. I just wanted to ask you. So I've been helping out President Trump in Georgia, and as I've been talking to Black Americans, I was just wondering, what is the best way to connect with people, like heart to heart, especially when there's just so many psyops, so much propaganda that's being said of Trump. I've spoken about Black employment opportunities, the issues of crime. I've spoken about the deterioration of the nuclear family and how it's important for us to fight for our values and to help communities. But what is something that you recommend that I can say that actually like gets me to like be real with people? What do you suggest?
What you got to do, man? Y'all got to come with some real tangible benefits right now. A lot of political workers and surrogates, you're not connecting to the Black community like you should, because we're a little more politically sophisticated despite all of this shucking and jiving you see at the DNC and all of this stuff. A lot of black voters are like, hey man, we ain't impressed by none of that. We ain't impressed by a lot of lip service. Let us know what we're going to get tangibly. We need something tangible. And that's what we're listing for. The minute you guys start talking about actually doing something tangible without one of these catch-all diversity, minority coalition, distressed community trick words, you're going to make some leeway. We're looking out for non-trick word language. So it's very important that either political party cut this benign neglect stuff out because we're just not rocking with it. Just bring something to the table. It can be done. We don't want to hear about what can't be done no more, because you're not connecting when people keep saying what they can't do for black people financially or tangibly. Yet all of these non-citizens are running over here getting money and medical care and food and shelter and housing the minute they step across the border. And we're looking at this like, okay, we need the same on this side and we don't want to hear no excuses. So that's the thing. You got to talk to your people and say, hey, it's tangible time. You're really going to have to come through with something. And that would be a smart thing to do because you got a big voting block of black people and we can swing an election one way or another. So it would be best to do something for that group. And I understand. Listen, here's the rub. Here's the quiet part that you're not supposed to say out loud when it comes to the political sphere and giving black people something. A lot of these parties on the right and left, there's a base of people in the dominant society who don't want to see black people get anything, and you don't want to lose those voters in their minds. In their minds, we don't want to lose those guys. And if we give black folks something, we might lose some of our anti-black base. So we got to play little word games. So the trick is you got to figure out how to provide some type of tangible benefits and word it in a way where you don't lose too many of your base voters. And that can be done. There are ways to do that. Okay. So this is why they some of these politicians and some of their handlers, they got to sit down with the grassroots so we can kind of word these things in a way where it's going to be beneficial to everybody. You need to sit down with them, with me, Marcel, um, even Teslin, because what Daryl Scott was talking about Teslin. Teslin is a rider. That's my sister. Teslin is a rider, and she's not a flunky for no political party at all. She's very critical of all of these parties. So people like that, they can sit down and really flesh out some phenomenal ideas. All right, that makes sense, brother?
Brother Nasheed, is there a way I could speak with you directly for some counsel on how I can better improve my messaging?
Right, right. You can email me. Email me info at Tariq.la. Info at Tariq.la. That's my email.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. All right. Let me see. We got Princess. All right. We got Princess. Hold on, Princess. What's going on, Princess? The Princess got Kamala in her thing, so we know that Princess is a Kamala Waltz supporter. Princess, what's happening, ma'am? Princess, you want to unmute your mic?
Oh, here. Hi.
Hey, dear,
Yeah,
how are
I'm good. I'm good. I'm glad you're having these conversations.
you?
Very important. And I'm glad that you had Dr. Scott on there. Although he is a Republican shill and paid to lie for that community.
Mm,
What I want to know is, do we know any policies that Republicans have had currently or even in the past for Black Americans? Because seemingly they don't have policy and we aren't even considered. And I know both parties are um, currently pretty weak on that matter,
mm,
even though I am voting for Kamala Harris. And Tim Walz, I am disturbed by the DNC, and they're not mentioning policy for Black folks, especially when in terms of policing violence, and reparations and things of those nature. These are important issues, and they don't even begin to address them. So, although I'm voting for that party, I'm also inside of that party and bringing up these ideas to them and letting them know that I'm not comfortable with them not addressing these issues. Even
Hmm.
when they send me surveys, and they're always sending me surveys, and they said, "Is there anything else that you would like to discuss?" I always put reparations. I always put jobs for Black men. That's another issue that the DNC and the RNC do not talk about.
Right. Sir Major, I see you making gestures here. Where you at, Sir Major?
Yeah, no, definitely, man. Tariq, thanks for allowing me to come up. And to the sister's point, look, I understand that everyone wants to make sure that the Republican Party is actually supplying tangibles and creating an outline of policies specifically for Black Americans. However, the sister, I think, is flawed, or she's doing her politics backwards. She's already stated that she's doing that she's supporting this campaign in terms of the Democrats' campaign with Kamala Harris, and Kamala Harris for weeks and months will not even roll out policies at all. And so I'm just confused as to how do you prematurely back someone who is not going to do anything for you specifically, and you just given them your free vote.
I don't give a free vote. I work for what I want. I wanted health care. So I knocked on doors and I made phone calls for that because I didn't have health care for me and my son. So the Democrats gave us that. They also are for women's rights, parents' rights, things of that nature. And so I fight for things like that. I am a Democrat because I don't see the Republicans fighting for liberty and justice. They absolutely do not. I'm also an environmentalist. Trump, when he was president, he rolled back 100 environmental regulations that dirtied our water, dirtied our food, and then you have RFK Jr. siding with him, and he's supposed to be an environmentalist. These things don't make any sense to me. Actions speak louder than words, and the Republicans have shown no action to help Black Americans. None, zero.
Have the
Yeah, I,
Democrats have the Democrats done something?
They have
What, like what, ma'am?
in their policies, and I know that things are not perfectly said, but civil rights was for us.
But
That
civil
was
rights for
Democrat led.
LGBT,
That was
it's for,
Democrat led.
but
Okay.
civil rights
So
now they've
I'm
hold
not
on,
finished.
hold on. We got to break all that down. Now they use
Okay.
civil rights for immigrants over here. They use civil rights against us now. They use civil rights for sexuality now. They've expanded it to mean everybody except us right now. So
That's
we
a
got to be very
problem.
honest.
And
That is
that's
a
a
problem.
problem.
Hmm.
And here's the thing: how come Republicans voted against civil rights? And
Because
it was for us.
yeah, well, it was supposed to be for us, but now they've allowed all of these other people. So if you decide a man you want to put on a dress, you get civil rights protections more so
Do
than
you
we
know? Do you know why they do that?
because of Obama and those guys.
Because liberty is for everyone. Liberty
Oh,
and
Lord.
justice. You can be a cross-dressing. It doesn't matter. You're
But
still
to
a human
compare that,
being. You're
but
still a
to
human
compare,
being.
right, but okay, well they should fight for their own rights. And it shouldn't be off the backs of our suffering. We have to suffer so that everybody else can kind of climb over our suffering and get benefits from that. And we kind of have a problem with that.
You know why they
Should we?
climb over us, Tariq?
Why do they, ma'am?
Because we don't belong to the party. We don't go to their committee meetings. We don't run for their committee chairs. We're not involved.
That's not
We're
true.
just talking.
That's not true.
We
There's
should have. Did you see all the Black people that were delegates at the DNC? Did you see that? Did you recognize that?
yeah, you got a lot of black faces in high places, but one of the requirements is for them to not advocate for anything specifically for black people.
That's
Like
not true.
the
Because I
Congressional Black Caucus is a great example of that, ma'am. They haven't done anything for black people.
know
And
they haven't, and they need to
right,
be called to the front of
that's
the
what
office.
that's what we're doing. And they've been around for 50 years and ain't done nothing. They do everything for every other group. So yeah, you got black faces in high places, and that's a problem. But thank you so much, Princess. I
You're
appreciate you.
welcome. I love you.
Thank you, beloved. Okay. Lord. Yeah, with the Democrats, man. And again, I'm critical of each side for whatever. No side has a policy specifically for us. Let's be very clear. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for policies for us that's status based. That's how you're going to get a lot of support. The benign neglect thing is not going to work. All of the symbolic gestures is not going to work. All of the pointing the finger, saying, well, that side is racist and that side is racist. Okay, there's racism all around. Now, who has the policies? Just like with the Democrats at the DNC when they had the Central Park Five out. And I called that out. And a lot of the Democratic shills, they've been hopping in the mentions mad and upset. You sound like MAGA. That's not an insult. That means you don't really have a comeback. They had the Central Park Five on the DNC program throwing shots at Trump about that ad. I think in the New York Post, one of those newspapers at the time. And they were like, yes, it was Trump's fault that we were in jail and whoop-de-whoop. And I'm not going to let the Democrats play that game where the Democrats do something horribly racist and then hide their hands and point at somebody else. I pointed out, and a lot of folks didn't realize this. The Central Park Five, they got prosecuted because of the damn Democrats. That was a Democratic movement in New York at the time. The lady, the prosecutor, she was a damn Democrat. Robert Morgenthau, that was the Manhattan DA. He was a Democrat. Ed Koch, the mayor at the time, he was a Democrat. All of these guys were running on that whole tough on crime vibe back in the late 80s. So there was this whole wave of tough on crime because there were a few things happening. And Mayor Mario Cuomo, that was another one, another Democrat. He was on that tough on crime wave during the time of the Central Park Five. In fact, Cuomo put like 30 prisons in New York at the time. There were a few things happening in New York at that time. You had a lot of these upstate New York areas that were poor white areas that were going into poverty because a lot of the factories had moved out of those areas. So they would be damn near ghost towns up there in upstate New York and outside of New York. Outside of New York City and Buffalo, New York is a hick state damn near. So they put a lot of prisons in those little damn near abandoned white towns, and those prisons became the economy for those towns. Putting black folks in jail, that became their economy. That was Cuomo behind that. So in order to fill those prisons up, you need your propaganda arm to get out here and demonize people in order to justify locking them up in large groups. So you had the liberal politicians, Cuomo, Ed Koch, and all of these people running around talking about being tough on crime. You had the liberal white media at the time of the Central Park Five putting out propaganda, calling black men wolf packs, and they're going around wilding, making them very animalistic. And that contributed to those brothers getting wrongly locked up. And again, the prosecutor, the woman who actually coerced them and got them locked up unjustly, that was a Democrat, Linda Fairstein. And not only a Democrat, a major Democrat donor. She donated to the Clintons, Obama, a whole bunch of people. While the Democrats sitting up there pointing the finger, talking about that Trump ad. That was the Democrats doing that. And another thing that was ironic, there were a lot of weird stuff going on in New York with rapes and attacks. And this is why delineation is very important, because it was a white woman who got raped and killed at Central Park around 1986, a couple of years before the Central Park Five case. It was a white dude who did it, and they gave him a cute little nickname. His name was the Preppy Killer. While the black people, they were wolf pack and wilding and demons. This white dude actually sexually assaulted and killed a woman, and they called him the Preppy Killer because he came from a well-to-do family, and he was a white supremacist, by the way. He was known to yell the N-word. His name was Robert something. I forgot his name, but I remember his nickname was the Preppy Killer. And he only got like 15, 20 years in jail. He's out now. Yeah, he got released from jail, I think. I forgot. It wasn't too long ago, but he's out. He got out of jail. You never heard of that story, you see. And what's interesting with the Central Park Five case, the person who actually did it, because the guys in the Central Park Five, they were absolutely innocent. It was the damn Puerto Rican tether who actually did it. He confessed, and then they matched his DNA to the crime scene. So it was one dude who did it. But notice that black people got the brunt of the criticism based on stuff that white supremacists and tethers were doing. You dig? I want y'all to think about that. Some tether goes out here and does this heinous crime, and then the black community, we get the brunt of the negative pushback from it. It becomes a pathological thing within black society. It's a crime we didn't even commit. That's what led to that stop and frisk thing too, by the way. You understand? So this is why we delineate, because people come over with melanated skin and they do this weird stuff and they just get thrown under the banner of blackness. That's why up in New York, every time we see crimes going on, I'm like, wait. Look at that hairline. Don't throw him in with us. That's not, he's not a foundational black American. Don't throw him in with us. I'm adamant about that. I'm adamant about that because what happens is a lot of these melanated immigrants, they'll come over here and their people do crimes, and then we get thrown under the bus, and then those same melanated immigrants will be standing up here with white people talking about, hey, look at those low IQ people with all that crime. And these are your people. Just like we had to check Myron. Myron Gaines is still salty that I spanked him and his buddies some like a month or so ago. I got on a live and spanked about 10 of them by myself, and they're real salty because they weren't prepared for it, and I embarrassed them. So they're still whining about me spanking him. And Myron put up a tweet earlier talking about, because I mentioned that Kamala Harris, they keep trying to blacken her up, and she's not a foundational black American. We don't recognize her as someone as a part of our lineage. She's not. She's not from our lineage. Y'all can try to make her as black as you can. She ain't our black. She's not a foundational black American. And there's no evidence that anybody in her family has ever identified as black. And that means her damn Jamaican father. There's no evidence that he identified as black. And even if he did over there, he's not a foundational black American, and neither is she. And then Myron hopped in my comments talking about low IQ FBAs. And then I just posted a picture of the people in his village, in his homeland, using cow urine to wash their hair. All right. Which is a real photograph from a real village in his real homeland. You don't get to talk greasy about us. We got a lot of people in here. Damn, we got damn near 4,000 people in here. We are in here heavy. Shout out to everybody in here. By the way, guys, we got an event happening at the Hidden History Museum this in September, Saturday, September 14th. We got the September Soul Saturday. We got complimentary food, complimentary drinks, great music, and great comics performing. So come on down to the Hidden History Museum and join me. Have a good time with me. You get your tickets at hiddenhistorymuseum.com. Hiddenhistorymuseum.com. Shark, are you ready to come on, man? Well, let me get my brother Great Black Shark in the building. Hold on one second. Let me get Great Black Shark in the building. Hold on one second. Because we got almost 4,000 people up in here. So let's get Great Black Shark in here. What's up, brother? Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm doing grand, brother. I hope you and your family are doing well. But hey, thank you, brother, for having that conversation with Dr. Daryl Scott there, or Pastor Daryl Scott,
Yes,
because
indeed.
it will be a game changer if the Trump campaign decides to actually take you up on that offer. And it would be wise of Kamala to do it as well. I wouldn't hold my breath for that. But it's time for them to have conversations with our best and brightest, like yourself. I know you're a very humble brother, but you are one of our best and brightest, the brother Marcel,
Yes.
Brother Philip Scott, many others that can articulate our needs as foundational Black American freedmen, and let them know that we are not the Tim Scott type. We're definitely not like those bootlicking flunkies at that Democratic National Convention. And we're going to actually articulate the needs for Black Americans without all that being starstruck by Democrats or Republicans. We must move them into a phase of, instead of looking at us like the flunkies at that Democratic National Convention, into understanding that we are politically mature enough to say voting is a business transaction. Now, you can get our vote, but it depends on what you come to the table with. And we're not loyal to either party. And we must let this be understood for any of them that are listening. If you do come through with tangibles, it's not going to be the same as it was for the last 60 plus years of our people voting for the Democrats with malevolent neglect. That's what I call it instead of benign. You're going to come back election cycle after election cycle. Okay, what do you have for us now? Oh, you don't have nothing? Okay, we'll see you when you have something for us. So thank you for everything that you're doing. And I hope that they take you up on that, because it would give them a chance to see what the intelligent parts of black society and the actual black grassroots are saying, not these shields like a Tim Scott and the rest of those flunkies in the Democratic National Convention. Thank you for everything you're doing, brother.
I appreciate you, brother. That's great, Black Shark. Y'all need to follow my brother. Let me get my sister Juicy. What's up, Juice?
Peace and power to you, King Tariq. Hey, shout out to the whole family in the space. Thank you so much for hosting this space. And you remind us why this platform is so important. Your platform is so important, and apps like X and having spaces, how they can be utilized in a much more impactful, substantial way.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to say one thing. When Daryl Scott asked you to make the clip, the statement in regards to how black voters, mature black voters, are moving more conservatively and more leaning toward, the Republican Party or Trump's, candidacy. I also wanted to point out another clip in regards to him stating that a lot of the challenges in the black community regarding crime was economical, and I think that's
Yes,
really important to drive that or utilize that clip to enforce our message behind reparations and repair for our community. So I just wanted to come up here and say that point.
absolutely. Great point, beloved. Thank you so much, dear. Let me get Sharker in here. Then I get Brother Marcel back on here. Sharker, you good?
Yeah, thank you, my brother, for giving me the opportunity. And
Yes, indeed.
and you were funny when you were talking about me after I left, but I still listen. You're very smart. And what I wanted to say is not that I want to be a citizen of United States. Thank God I have money. I have what I need.
Yeah.
But what I want is, I want the greatest nation in the world to stay the greatest. You're now the greatest, but you need to stay like it. And there is a lot of wars around the world and a lot of ways to handle them. And I think that Kamala will do only bad, inside and outside. And about the black people, I wanted to tell you, Tariq, you don't need to worry about them. They showed that if they want, they can be smarter than the white people, a lot more, in an
Oh,
amazing way. Okay,
thank you so much. I don't know what he be talking about. All right, Marcel, what's up, brother?
Hey, Tariq, I wanted to say something real quick about Trump's pick for vice president, J.D. Vance.
Yeah.
Now, he came out, of course, and he made that ignorant statement about the settlement that will go to quote unquote minority farmers.
Right.
But some years ago, he actually said that he was starting to be open to the concept of reparations. He said something to the extent, I'll have to find the article, that the same way white people in his area have been neglected by the government and they need repair, he can understand how repair can be needed by the black people who went through Jim Crow and redlining, his own words. So there is potential there. This is not kowtowing or bending the knee to any administration, but this is having an open door. And I
Yeah.
also want to say it's kind of interesting how you have gotten people from RFK to speak with you, RFK's team, and PAC and Trump's PAC, and yet you and nor I can get anyone from the Kamala or the Democratic side to speak to us, and that says a lot.
Yes. Man, a very good point. Yeah, everybody comes to us and they've spoken with respect. That's interesting. Brother Marcel brought up a very good point. Trump's team, they're reaching out to me and speaking and talking about what can we do to come to some kind of center that would be beneficial for the black community and the base. RFK, they were speaking to us. They reached out very respectfully. Um, Kamala and Biden's people, they won't sit down respectfully. See, they send them to come in my spaces and attack me. That's what the Democrats do. Instead of coming to me, sitting down, because these people understand. Here's the thing: they understand that I'm a very influential person. They know that they've had these conversations. This is what they send emails back and forth about. They prioritize, and I've heard this from people on the inside, they've sent all types of emails internally for them to attack me in particular. And y'all remember a few years ago, the entire DNC attacked me when I was critical of Kamala Harris. I'm talking about there was a thread, a tweet that I made, and they hopped in there and it got like 10 million views or something. They were just attacking me from the top and bottom, because many of them low key blame me for Hillary losing because I was tweeting the no tangible, no vote campaign. And a lot of people from the DNC blame me for peeling off a lot of the black vote from the grassroots and having people second guess Hillary. That's why when she lost, Roland Martin got on TV, started cursing me out by name, calling me all types of stupid fools, and I'm dumb as hell, and everybody's dumb for listening to me. And y'all remember they had Tiffany Cross on MSNBC calling me out by name. Y'all stop listening to Tariq. Don't be listening to him. I've seen my name in all types of little documents because y'all notice when I tweet certain things, I'm just giving my opinion. Usually it goes viral. I just wake up and just tweet random thoughts and it goes viral. And a lot of the mainstream and international press will pick up on it. And they look at that as a problem because black people who have certain levels of influence, usually it's given to them by the Democrats. Usually the white liberal media elevates the black people that they want to have influenced. Me, I'm a little bit different. I'm not really clicked into any political structure or corporate structure. So I give my opinion, and my opinion is very influential. I'm one of the really only black people like that. Somebody else pointed that out to me, and I'm not saying this to brag because it's really not the flex that it sounds like it is, because that makes me a big ass target. Because some people pointed this out to me recently, and it started to make sense. They were like, Tariq, you know what? You're probably the most influential black person on the grassroots. And I never thought of it like that. They were like, nobody, if you really look at it, nobody black can really galvanize large numbers of people and resources and have the kind of influence you have. And they're not connected to any type of political or corporate structure. Nobody else has that. Nobody else can really do that. And I'm like, damn, that's kind of a gift and a curse, because the curse is, y'all know I'm on everybody's damn FBI list. That's one of the things they do not like. They don't like a black person with way too much influence. Influence that's not stifled by a corporate structure or a political structure. Because if somebody's connected to a political party, their political leadership can just kind of smack them down and just make them be quiet. Or if they're connected to a corporate structure, the corporate structure just withhold the money from them and make them shut up. Just like in Hollywood. You see a lot of Hollywood cats running around here shucking and jiving at the DNC because a lot of the people in Hollywood, the power brokers, are liberal. So these guys don't want to mess up their next movie role. They know not to rub these people the wrong way. When white mommy and white daddy in Hollywood snaps that finger and says, hey, get out there and shuck and jive at the DNC, they're going to be like, well, how much you want me to shuck and jive? You're going to get some shucking and jive, and just tell me how long you want me to do it. You see? So the Democrats, I say that to say, they are always in our spaces. They're always sending ops at us. Right now, they didn't send Luther Campbell to attack me now. Luther Doodoo Brown Campbell. He's been trying to attack me a lot lately. He just had a sit down with Kamala Harris, his fellow immigrant, and he's just making a whole bunch of bad faith arguments. He got on some live talking about my wife is white and I'm working with Steve Bannon, just tether lying. Nothing new. Tethers are going to lie. A weird thing about Luther Campbell, and he might be in here on his fence still. Luther up here why is Luther Campbell trying to compare himself to Malcolm X and Minister Farrakhan? He's like, yeah, y'all be talking about us immigrants. Do y'all say that for Malcolm X and He immigrant, his family from the Caribbean, and Minister Farrakhan, they Caribbean. Dude, you and what about Marcus Garvey? Dude, you not on that level? And Malcolm was not a tether. First of all, Malcolm X, his father is a foundational black American. Minister Farrakhan, his family is Caribbean, but Minister Farrakhan is a rider. We love Minister Farrakhan. He's not a tether. A tether is an action-based word. It's about what you do. You're not a tether just because you're Caribbean. You're not a tether just because you're African. You're a tether because you come over here and try to undermine us. That's why we call you a tether. And Luther, that's why people are calling you a tether, because they're looking at you as undermining a lot of stuff we're doing. And then speaking on stuff that you're not really that well versed in. Just saying stuff. Those FBAs out there supporting Trump and stuff, they don't know what they doing. Them FBAs out there trying to get reparations and separate the black community and stuff. Miss me with that. We have a lineage that's unique. We're not going to be shamed for recognizing our lineage. We have a unique lineage. We're non-immigrants. We come from a group of people who built this country from scratch and didn't flee nowhere. We have a very unique lineage to this land, and we're not going to be shamed away from that. This thing where everybody else can have an ethnic group except us, that's not the game. We're not one big Negro because y'all try to use us as some kind of trash bin, and that's not going to happen. All right. What's your name, ma'am? And I know Lucas. Luke, you probably in here with one of your Finsta accounts. What's up, Brandy?
Hey, Mr. Tariq, how you doing?
I'm good, Brandy. How are you, beloved?
I'm pretty good. I'm calling from Missouri. Um,
Oh,
and I got a two-part question here. One
mm-hmm.
one for the women here in our state, and then one from our grassroots movement here in Ferguson and Kansas City. First I wanted to ask you because we had that Gomez chick running that was talking about black people that want reparations can go back to Africa.
Right.
I had to vote her. We had to vote her out, but we're
Good.
all but we're also dealing with here and in Texas because we have some groups in Dallas too. But we're dealing with the bans that they have here where they're people that are survivors of rape and incest and stuff like that are not able to get care, are not able to abort, So
Right.
I did change my affiliation from Democrat like 2-3 months ago. But
Okay.
I'm wondering like what are we supposed to do in those situations? Because I'm married and I had a miscarriage a couple months ago and it was like really hard to get care.
Yeah.
I had to go all the way over to Kansas to actually get care. So, what do you say for us? And then I'll ask you about our grassroots people here. And
Right.
after you
Okay.
answer that,
Let me ask that because I do want to get some other calls. But yeah, I believe that people should have a choice. I believe that if there was a rape or some type of situation that happened, you should be able to say, hey, look, this is something I don't want to have this child. I believe that there should be some options for women, absolutely. What I don't like is for them to actively promote abortion as just a simple form of birth control. So if you go out here, get drunk, turn up, just go ahead and hit that clinic that's right on the corner, and we're giving you all types of access to get rid of them damn babies because you don't want to have them grow up in this society where we're going to deplete them of resources anyway. Because um, abortion as we know it, that came from the eugenics program. We got to be very honest. That's why they offering it to us so freely. We ain't even asking. Nobody's asking for abortions. That's not on the bucket list of what Black Americans need. This is something that they volunteer to us. We're saying, hey, what about housing? What about jobs? What about good medical care just to keep us alive? Like, no, 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 no. We'll give you free abortion and COVID shots. All of that for free. You see, and we're looking at the trick bag language in that.
In the heart of nature, we find our true strength, a connection to our roots, to the land, to each other. Introducing Rootwork deodorant, infused with the potent power of High John the Conqueror root. Embrace the natural strength and resilience passed down through generations. Feel the purity of natural ingredients, harmonizing with your body and spirit. Rootwork deodorant, bringing you in tune with nature and with yourself. Rootwork deodorant. Connect, empower, thrive. Available now at rootworkstyle.com.